Good evening and welcome to our live studio audience, right, for the 2025 Meet the Candidate Night here for 3 positions, 1 with the Fairport Library and 2 for the Fairport Central School District Board of Education. I'm Peter Forsgren, been asked to be the moderator for this activity tonight, and with us we have 3 of our students I'll introduce here shortly, as well as the 3 candidates, and then our Fairport High School PTSA President Penny Dunn, to whom we owe a lot of thanks for organizing this for the 3rd year. Is that correct? The 3rd year. So thank you for investing so much time every year, and not just in this activity, but all the other ones. We also want to thank our district clerk, who's not here tonight, but we know that she puts a lot of effort into planning this and keeping the board organized. I have very fond memories of Sarah and all the work that she puts into for this. And of course, to thank our 3 students, we have Andrew Smolowick with us, a senior here in high school, Paige May Wesson, and then Autumn Fitch, 2 juniors, both juniors. But again, I'll give you time in a minute. Keep thinking about what you want to say. I want to thank everybody for participating here tonight, and just have some requests for those who may be here. Anybody with phones, which is all of us, including myself, right? Keep them silent. Yep, the quick check. It's amazing what gets through. And, just be respectful. So I'm going to introduce the candidates quickly. Starting off with our library candidate, Dave Giambattista. His bio: married, his wife is Catherine, has 5 children, all graduated from Fairport High School, 2 still living here in Perrington. Dave has lived in Perrington since 1992 and for several years in the mid-1980s. I didn't realize you had made intermission there. Yeah. And all your current grandchildren attend schools here in the school district, so that's wonderful. He has his education certificate in advanced human resources from the University of Michigan, a master's of business administration from Syracuse University, and a bachelor of science from Brigham Young University. As an occupation, he's happily retired for several years now, but with 34 years of service in a variety of human resource positions. Formerly a tutor and board member with Learning Links, which is such a great impact on our community, and an active participant in his local church, including teaching children and assisting with financial record keeping. Volunteers seasonally with several activities as Mr. Dave Giambattista. So welcome, Dave. Thanks for running.
Thank you, Peter.
10 years, right? I don't think we said that. You've been 10 years on the library board?
Yeah, 10 and a half. I filled a little bit of an open term, and then I ran for election in 2015, I think it was.
Yeah. Very good.
Library terms are 5 years.
Isn't that nice?
3 years, right?
Yeah. So we longingly look at the library for 5-year terms. Then we have Janice Fortuna. Pleasure to see you here tonight. And for her bio, was elected to the Fairport Board of Education in May of 2022. Running unopposed as an incumbent, she has lived in Fairport for 17 years with her husband, Rob, who is also himself a 93 Fairport High School graduate. And I have 2 daughters, Katie, who's an 11th grader. Amazing, right? And Allie, a 9th grader at Minerva DeLand. Janice is a member of the Monroe County School Board Association, District Operations and Information Exchange Committee, and currently serves on the district's Audit and Finance, District-Wide Safety, and District School Improvement Committees. Always a full plate. With her background in both elementary and collegiate level teaching, she loves the opportunity to supervise student teachers at SUNY Geneseo. When she's not working with her aspiring teachers, she enjoys taking the family's lovable Labrador Retriever on hikes and throughout the many trails of Perrington. So Mrs. Janice Fortuna, welcome. Thank you for running again. And lastly, that leaves Dr. Brian Moritz. Dr. Brian Moritz has been a member of the Fairport Board of Education since the fall of 2021. Right, appointed initially and then?
Filling an upbeat
right.
seat and then elected.
Yes. So running as an incumbent and unopposed, has lived in Fairport for more than 10 years with his wife and daughter, who's a 9th grader, also Minerva DeLand. Dr. Moritz is a member of the Monroe County School Board Association Legislative Committee and has served as Fairport's delegate to the New York State School Boards Association Resolution Committee. You did all the voting here this last year then?
I did. It was slightly shorter than yours was 2 years ago, but not by much.
I was going to say how much?
4 hours.
4-hour length.
Yeah.
It's a long meeting if you've never participated in that one, but lots of resolutions being passed and debated. Very good. Now, where did I find myself? And you also a member of the District Technology Task Force and Sustainability Committee. And in the past, you have been part of the Audit and Finance Committee as well. Right, in his day job, he's a journalism professor at St. Bonaventure University, of which he is a proud graduate. Don't have your other schools, but you also Syracuse University. Right. Well, welcome, Dr. Morris. Thank you. And thank you for running. So our student representatives, we're grateful for them and all their participation over all the years. I can speak personally, we just love having students here. You have also been influential in getting students who have turned 18 to be first-time voters many times in this school board election, since it's in May. So my son, for example, turned 18 in January. This will be his first election. And your participation helps encourage that. And so we're grateful to have you here. And I'd like to give you just brief time. I don't have your bios, but you can say anything you like. I'm not going to time you. But with Paige May Weston having been here first, we'll give you an opportunity to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Paige Maywison. I'm a junior here at Fairport High School. I'm a dancer, and I'm the vice president of our class, and I'm really happy to be here.
Fantastic. So junior and with Autumn, right? You are starting to look at colleges as well, the fun that's coming of that. Autumn?
Hi, I'm Autumn Fitch. I'm a junior at Fairport High School. I participate in the girls' varsity basketball and tennis teams, and I'm also very happy to be here.
Glad to have you. Andrew Smallowig.
Hi, I'm Andrew Smollick. I'm a senior here at Fairport High School, and I was on the Fairport volleyball team, and I also spend my time playing baseball, and I'm also very happy to be here.
And being the senior and graduating, what are your plans?
Next year, I plan to attend the new Golisano Institute for Business and Entrepreneurship.
Do you hope to be an entrepreneur?
I hope so.
Speaking as one, it's a great route. Takes a lot of work. Well, welcome. Thank you for being here tonight. In all seriousness, we're grateful that they will be asking the questions of the candidates. So in terms of the outline for tonight, we have 4 questions. I know you were told 3, so there is perhaps a surprise one, but it's really looking to the future, right? Just to think along those lines, looking to the future. And so our student representatives will take turns answering that question, starting with Paige. You will be timed. Before we get to the questions, we'll give you just a couple minutes to introduce yourself. I'll keep the timer. I'll try to give you a 30-second warning. I know something Brian's been looking forward to. And I brought with me my little secret weapon, a copy of the U.S. Constitution. Should you go over by more than 10 seconds at your 3 minutes, I'm just going to start reading some passages, right? As a reminder to be fair to the others, that you only get 3 minutes, you don't get to take 5. And it's a great document anyway, so it's a good reminder for people that, hear passages if you want to go over by more than 10 seconds of your 3 minutes. Does that sound fair enough? Right? Okay.
Depends which article you're reading.
I think I'll just start from the beginning. Okay. I love "we the people" phrase, so we'll start there. But I said 3. I meant 2 minutes. I apologize. 2 minutes with a 30-second warning. But first, start with Dave, with you. And I know in the past, Dave, we've kind of all the questions went to the library candidate first, and then dismissed the library candidate. We're just going to mix it in with everybody if you're okay with that tonight. And so we'll just.
I'm flexible.
Okay, but why don't you start
Turn that on.
introducing yourself?
Introduce myself. I think you did a great job. So I will just say this, that I am running for re-election because I've enjoyed being on the board, and I want to continue to support the library and the community. I think we've made some good changes and adaptations in the library in the last few years that are needed as things come. We hired a new director as the other one retired. She was phenomenal, but she retired. It was good for her. Trust me, retirement's good. I'm on that bandwagon too. And hired a great director, and he's got a great staff that works for them. We want to make sure that they are continued to be valued and taken care of. We also, with help from the school district, also now invest our reserve, so we don't sit there and give Chase Bank free money every year. We actually get the interest ourselves, which is good, and it's good for the library, it's good for community and taxpayers. We have maintained what I think is a stable tax base, only increasing taxes in years when we needed to. We haven't done it every year. And then the other thing is we have created a long-range plan that in the past I'd say was done pro forma, and now it's actually a useful document that we review twice a year at board meetings to review the progress that the library is making on that. So for those reasons, I enjoy what I do with the board. It's a group of a variety of backgrounds. I have a business background, some have library backgrounds, some have quantitative financial backgrounds. It's good to have a mix, I think. I like variety of people, not all homogeneous, and I enjoy what we're doing, and we are strictly nonpartisan, which I like, so we get to not put each other in boxes. We get to treat each other as equals and his peers. Thank you.
Thank you, and I shouldn't have introduced yourself, we had your bios, but to give an opening statement about, right, your experience and
Yeah.
past and.
You had warned me in advance, so I kind of knew what to do.
Yes, right, sorry about the
That's
poor
okay.
choice of words, but Dr. Moritz, if you'd like to go.
Sure. Peter, thank you for moderating this, and it's great to see you. I think your influence on the board is felt every time we talk. I think the impact you had on all the work that we do as a district and the work we do as a board is something that we all hold very close to ourselves. So it's great to see you, and we're great to hear. Penny, thank you for the work you do. Dave, thank you for being here, helping out. And you guys, I know you have a lot that you could be doing right now and probably should be doing right now. So I know all three of us appreciate you taking time out of your insane schedules to be here and being a representative of the student body and an example for the student body. So I know we appreciate this. Peter, you talked about my bio. I'm not going to repeat that, but I will say, I was appointed to the board in the fall of 2021, a very different time in a lot of ways than it is right now. But my 3.5 years on the board, it's been the honor of a lifetime to be a member of the Fairport Board of Education, to support the work that we're doing in this community, to support the teachers, to support the administration, to support the administrative staff, everybody from Superintendent Provenzano on through to everybody who works in the Fairport schools. I think we're very proud of the work that we've been able to do, whether through visiting schools, advocating in Albany, advocating in Washington with our lawmakers, telling our story, and really just what it comes down to, and I'll mention this, and I know Jan will mention this a lot tonight too, our focus is always and forever what is best for the students. And that's the lodestone. That's kind of our guiding principle. I assume that means I'm almost out of time. It has been an honor, and I look forward to 3 more years of working with this district.
Thank you, and thank you, Penny. I said I'd be a timekeeper, but you're right. I'm totally forgetting to hit the start, and I'm glad you're on top of things. And Brian, thank you for your kind words. It was an honor of a lifetime. I agree. I'm hope you're glad you all are finding it to be the same. It's just such good work. So, Jan.
Again, thank you for putting this together. Dave, thanks for holding down the fort for us. And to our 3 amazing students, I think if anybody needs an excuse out of a homework, I think any of us would be happy to sign one. So to any of you, especially civics, history, English teachers. So I just want to share a little bit, as a school member for the past 3 years, I've never lost sight of the fact that not only am I a representative of our community, I'm a leader within our district. I have been entrusted with the responsibility of being a steward of our children's education and the public's investment and trusts in our schools. Throughout my first term, I would like to think that I hope I have been seen as a dedicated listener, a collaborative partner, and a strong advocate. I've strove to be thoughtful and sincere, well-informed, and deliberate. I lean on my board colleagues all the time for their wisdom and their diverse perspectives, and I am learning continuously. With my 6 extraordinary colleagues, and I realize I've worked with 10 amazing members, you, Peter, included in that, we always work to make student-centered decisions that support our students, staff, and families. Our role as board members is to provide a strategic vision and set financial priorities for our district. We have a great task, and that's approving a budget that is both fiscally responsible and responsive to the evolving needs of our district. We trust in the work of our great administrative team and the educators while also ensuring accountability and alignment with the mission and values of our district. Above all, and I think we will say this time and time again, I'm at yellow already. Okay, we're gonna skip ahead. Above all, our students are first. We are entering a really exciting time in Fairport. First in 2023, first this spring we'll break ground on our 2023 capital improvement project that brings us an expanded tech wing, a renovated library, and a long-awaited track. So lots to look forward to. Thanks.
That was a great ending, by the way. I think ending with improvements to those facilities is a great way to run out of time.
Boy, did I, yeah.
It's hard to gauge time.
It goes
is it not?
fast.
It goes by so fast.
It goes by fast.
So thankfully you're not being timed, students. See, ask your questions, right? Okay, fairly simple. I'm gonna start with Paige and go down this way in terms of they worked it out before you all arrived. And each asking their questions. We'll start the timer. Each student will also just mention the order that you'll have them. So it will rotate who's first, but they'll each mention the order. Okay, so I'm gonna hand it over to them and let it run. And not stand back up here unless you start talking a little too long. Yes,
2 minutes, is that what we have?
2 minutes.
Okay, just wanted to make sure, thank you.
Yep, very good. So Paige.
Okay, our first question is, what is your compelling why? We'll start with Mrs. Fortuna, then Dr. Moritz, then we'll go to Mr. John Batista.
Okay, thank you, Paige. So the short answer, and I guess if you were to look up ChatGPT, the short answer is we're drawn to school board service because we have a great love of public education. We want to meaningfully contribute to our community by affecting policy and ensuring that our schools are welcoming, safe havens that build connections, broaden perspectives, and cultivate curiosity and learning. But the longer answer, is that every time that I'm somewhere with my 2 girls and we see another student, I will say something to the effect of, oh my gosh, don't you remember you went to preschool with them? You were in kindergarten with them. You went to their 7th birthday party, or you were on the Girls on the Run team, which will inevitably result in a massive eye roll from one of my 2 teenagers, which I'm sure you can imagine. They will follow that with usually a, Mom, I know you've told me this 100 times, because of course for them that was a lifetime ago, but for us as parents that might as well have been yesterday. As we see these children who were once in the same preschool, in the same class, or in the same Little League team, before our eyes, they've grown up playing in the orchestra. They're standing next to our child at the National Honor Society award ceremony. They're in the paper posing with the championship brick, or even asking you questions at the Meet the Candidates night. There was a day that I was volunteering at Martha Brown years ago during the Home and Careers mock interviews, and I was interviewing this well-spoken, articulate, beaming smile of a young man, and all I could remember is that he's standing next to my daughter in the kindergarten graduation with those cute little headbands. So as we know the pride that their parents feel, because we feel the same for our own children, all our children are our why. We want to celebrate them, we want to support them, and our work is to protect their best interests. We are all in the same village, and as a board member, I don't ever want to lose sight of that. That was better, huh? Better timing? Okay. Oh, see?
Nailed it.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. It's even my turn. Sorry. My teenager knows that I talked about it.
So I love this question. Thank you for asking it. The idea of the compelling why, it comes up on a lot of our conversations as a board. And I'm going to start with a quote from Wade Norwood, who is one of our region's representatives on the state education department. And I use this quote all the time, but it means so much to me. And it's, what holds society together is the idea that we are all in this together. Public education is the greatest expression of that. And I think that just captures why we do this. And public education, now more than ever in today's world in 2025 right now, supporting public education is one of the most important things I think we can do as a community and as board members to support our public schools. And that's why I'm running for another term, because I believe deeply in the value of public education, and that public education is what makes our community strong, especially here in Fairport. And the compelling why is something I see when I'm at events, when I'm at schools. We're lucky enough we get to visit every school throughout the school year. And so I see my compelling why all the time. I see it when we go to an elementary school and the kids just light up because they want to show what they're working on in the Spark Lab. And that's just the best moment when you see kids excited about learning. I see it in drama productions, choir concerts. I see it in track meets, the art show down at the mall, issues of the Lampion, everything we get to see, all the good stuff that students do, the big stuff that gets in the paper and the small stuff that happens every day. And of course I see it at homecoming, which is the crown jewel of our events. That's where you see what makes Fairport and what makes Fairport School special. And I wholeheartedly believe in the work that we're doing in Fairport to educate the whole child and every child. As Jan said, and it's an exciting time for the district, and I want to continue to be a part of the work that we're doing.
Okay. I got to turn the mic on. I will say this. I've meant to say this in my introduction. This is my first time, even though it's my third time running. the first time, the night was on the night I was out of town, and so my daughter Allison, who was a Fairport grad, came and did this for me. And if you know Allison, Peter knows her, she's very shy, and the fact that she did this was amazing because there were people in the audience. And then 5 years ago, it was canceled due to COVID. So here I am, first time, even though it's my third election, it's the first time. So why am I running? My wife has an answer that she gives to everything I ask her, and she says, why not? And I figured that's not a good answer because that drives me crazy. So why am I running? As I went around to get my petition signed so I could get back on the ballot, it's interesting to me the number of people that say to me, why do we need libraries? We have the internet. And it's like, okay, you know, I don't want to scream, but calm down. And I'll tell you why we need libraries. Last year, we had 650,000 items circulated in the library, of which 20% were digital. We had 250,000 visits, people who came, all ages, all genders, races, what have you. Now, some people came multiple times, obviously, since there's only 50,000 people in Parenton, and I realize not everyone came, but we had a lot. And we had 43,000 people participate in 1,500 different programs. So, you know, it's an outreach to the community, and probably 3/4 of those programs would be of no interest to me, and probably some not to you either, but the idea is there's something for everyone at the library. And so to me, libraries are unique and essential part of our American cultural fabric. I think they're far more than reading and literacy, although those are our bedrock. And libraries today provide such information to people across the spectrum without regard to, you know, age, education, race, background, whatever it is. And I'm glad to continue that, and I enjoy working with the other board members and the phenomenal library staff.
Well, good answers, first of all, but our next question is, what are some points of advocacy you have raised awareness of? First, Dr. Moritz, then Mr. Giambattista, then Mrs. Fortuna.
Great, thank you for asking this. As Peter mentioned at the beginning, I'm a member of our the Monroe County School Boards Association Legislative Committee. We actually had a meeting earlier today. And so I'm, as part of this work, meeting with Congressman Joe Morelli, meeting with our State Senator Sam Brook, Assembly Member Jen Lunsford, traveled to Albany to meet with state legislators and representatives of the governor's office. I was a table leader at the legislative breakfast, all this stuff. So what some of the things I've been advocating for, one of the big joys and things I'm most proud of is advocacy for universal meals, so that every student would get free breakfast and free lunch at schools. That is in the budget, the state budget, that they're still not voted on, but hopefully voting on soon. That is, the fact that it is in the budget is just a huge, huge victory for families across the state and across our district. That is a result of a lot of hard collective work among districts like ours. And as Peter and Jan knows, this is something I'm incredibly passionate about. So I'm very proud to see that. If I can do this very quickly, talking about, we advocate for our foundation aid, which is our state aid, which is a huge part of our budget. What we're advocating for is stability with that. We still don't know exactly what our foundation aid from the state is going to be in the budget. That's up for a vote in less than 2 weeks, which again is a state budget problem. We're looking for changes to the formula for that so that we know what we can plan and create a budget year to year. Also advocating for mental health resources for all of our students, and especially now starting to advocate for funding and resources for our special ed students, so that all students are able to get the support and what they need to get their free and appropriate public education.
Remember the second time. Thank you. So a couple of things that I think are important that I've had role with the library board and will continue to. I mentioned one of them, and I want to emphasize that in hiring a library director, that sets the direction. It's kind of like the superintendent of the school district, and he or she sets a large direction. And I think we were very lucky and very successful in the person we hired, and he's brought in a great staff. And retaining that staff is equally important, because you don't want to have a high turnover there. You want to have some. It's good to have some turnover. New ideas come in and stuff, but it's a stable thing. So that's important. And I think I've served, with my background, I was on the Quilt Personnel Committee. I've been on the Finance Committee. This year I am on the Facilities Committee, which is new for me. So that was one. Another area is, as I mentioned, we updated a long-range plan, which is a state requirement that we do every 3 to 5 years. It kind of varies on how long. And we put together 4 areas in that. plan. One is community communication and outreach. So that's targeting different groups in the community that use the library. So how do we communicate to them effectively and efficiently? But also, how do we reach those that don't use the library or don't know about it? Because there are people that still fall into that regards. And it's not necessary that everyone physically come because of the online access and stuff like that. And, you know, like I said, 20% of our circulation is digital. So that's important. Another area is facility and technology. Facility is, you know, with schools, as you're well aware, we're very small with what we have, but we still have a facility to deal with, and technology is always changing. We're going like that. The other two areas that I think are programs and services. I mentioned we have 1,500 programs that the community uses, and then collections and materials. You have to have a wide enough collection of materials that spans to a group of people that will come to your library and use them and get different points of view.
All right, so advocacy, right? So I was really glad that Brian went before me on this one, and I completely anticipated his answer and actually reached out to him earlier because we should all be really thankful. Brian is our board advocate, and he's like the Big Rocks advocate. You know, hardly a day goes by without knowing what's going on in Albany because of Brian's efforts. So I would probably count myself as more of a ground level, behind the scenes advocate. I'm constantly thinking, okay, what do our teachers, what do our parents, what's our community concerned about? I'm the one who gets the email and goes into a frenzy of, oh my goodness, what are we going to do about this? How can we make this better? Brett really loves those emails, by the way. And he really looks forward to those. When someone asks a question or poses a concern, I immediately want to get an answer. So whether it's a question about why UPK really isn't universal, or when they can expect a newly developed sports team to be approved for the season, or when a high school teacher shares their feelings about cell phone use in the high school, or a parent asks me about a particular incident or a decision, I want to follow through because I realize that their concerns are my concerns. Advocacy is a process of supporting and allowing people to express their views, particularly those who don't always feel the same way you do. And in that way, it is my role as a board member to listen and to acknowledge and to learn. I ask a lot of questions, whether it is water fountains in the elementary school, or activity periods, or why students and how students get into compacted math. I take this work incredibly seriously because I know that those topics matter to Fairport families. And it's just great work. And so I think it also speaks to the great teamwork that everybody on our board is a team, and we rely on each other's skills and strengths to make our school district better.
And our third question is, how do you view your role as a board member or library trustee, and how can it influence the community? We'll start with Mr. John Batista, followed by Mrs. Fortuna, and then Dr. Moritz.
Okay, thank you. So I think I alluded to this a little bit. I think the board member's role is to support the library with the resources that it needs, both financial and community resources. So part of our job is financial and putting together budgets. It's working with the director and his staff to make sure they have the resources they need. So, and then communicating that to the community so that it, you know, the election coming up in 2 weeks or whatever it is also has the library budget on as well as the school board budget. So that's important there. So to have the resources. Another area that I think is very important is to model appropriate behavior among the board. We don't always agree on everything. I think I can say we all like each other, but you know, outside the library, we probably necessarily all wouldn't be friends because we have different interests and stuff like that. And I think that's actually beneficial because I think when we have people that tend to have the same group think towards an idea or problem, we tend to have bad solutions and stuff. So the fact that we actually have, I wouldn't call them debates, but discussions, I think is important. And I think it's also, it shows the library team, the director and the assistant directors, how they should model their behavior with their staff and go forward, and how they work with the patrons, because they get all sorts of patrons. If you haven't been to the library lately, I invite you to come and check it out, especially during a busy time. You know, if you come in a time when it's not so busy, you say, well, what's going on here? Come in a busy time, you know, like after school or on a Saturday morning, and you see the beehive of activity that's there and how kind the staff is. And I think that's something that's important, that if we expect the people that work in an organization to exhibit professional behaviors, we have to as a board too, and I think we do that. So I appreciate the chance to be on the board and to work with others, and look forward to continuing to do so for the next 5 years.
So a good school board, we have the power to make a profound difference in the lives of our students and educators, and of course, by extension, our community. When we commit to education, we're making a positive impact on the community culture. Studies have shown that when you invest in early childhood education, the community gets tenfold in returns. We live in a town that people want to live in, and they want to raise their families in. So many of our district teachers live in Fairport. So many Fairport graduates actually come back to Fairport to raise their families, even though they say they're never going to return. We know that so many of our Fairport residents don't want to move out of Fairport because this is their home and of the positive dynamics and culture. And so much of that starts at the school level. So as board members, we advocate for increased UPK funding. We advocate for universal free meals. Thank you, Brian. We work closely with our assistant superintendent of business to be thoughtful in our budgetary decisions. We ensure that every student, K-5, receives math intervention when they need it. We keep special education programming at the front of our work because we want to keep our kids in district. We look at our wide offerings across middle school to make sure that we can make our programming more accessible to all students. We look ahead at some of the changes of diploma requirements to be confident that we will have multiple pathways for students, whether it's by literacy, civic readiness, technology, or vocational education. It's all of these points and many, many more that will make us stronger. But what I think makes us the strongest of all is that we understand as board members that we are role models, and that if we as board members don't act with integrity, with ethics, with compassion towards each and every student, regardless of gender, identity, background, religion, you name it, we are doing a huge disservice to the town of Fairport and our future.
Start off by saying everything Jen just said. I think one of the main things that our roles as board members is to be stewards of public education. As we talked about advocacy, which is really just a fancy way of saying telling your story to lawmakers and to getting you and your teachers and the administration here the resources that they need. One of the main things that we do as a board is to make sure to make sure that we have a great team in place, and we do, from Superintendent Provenzano and the administration on down through every part-time employee, all the part-time employees that work here that interact with students. You know, I view our role as to put a great team in place and let them cook. And we've been fortunate enough that we do have a great team in place, and I think we let them do what they do best for you guys. You know, and in terms of the part of the question about how we influence the community, I think we're a reflection of the community more than anything else. I think we as an elected board reflect our community's kindness, our compassion, our belief in education, our desire to make sure that students know, to quote the author Terrence Leicester, that this place is better because you are here and you are free to take up space. And our belief that we want to do what we can to make sure that all students succeed academically, socially, and in all the ways they dream of or need to.
All right, for our last question, are there any issues, challenges, or priorities that you would like the community to be aware of over your next term? We'll start back with Mrs. Fortuna, then Dr. Moritz, then last with Mr. Giambattista.
I think it's going to be a pretty quiet next 2 years. No, we have an incredible next 5 years in front of us. In fact, it's really driving so much of why I'm running again, because so many of the decisions that I was a part of in my first term will now come to fruition. And to not see it through and to not ensure that it's done with anything but integrity and support of our teachers and staff and students would be such a disservice. We are 2 years, right? Mm-hmm. Under 2 years from bringing our ninth graders and our staff, teachers and staff of Minerva to the high school. That is not without challenges. That's not without emotions. I think we have an amazing plan in place. Our administrative team has done just the most extraordinary job of making this as smooth of a transition as possible. With that, we are shifting start times, implementing later school start times for high schoolers. I'm sorry that you're not going to see the benefit of that. Maybe your younger siblings will. You know, that's a huge change. We have a lot of questions still to answer. We have a lot of work to still do in that with that, our challenges, but it's also exciting because we keep our eye on the prize, we keep our eye on the end, and then we just work from there. And as I kind of alluded to at the beginning, I think I mentioned really quickly, I mean, you know, one of the first projects or one of the first votes that I was a part of was the 2023 capital improvement project. And it's going to just be so exciting to see our high school grow. The technology wing, a renovated library, along a way to track. And then right after that, we're looking to do our K-6 or our K-8 facilities upgrades. So just so much is happening in Fairport, and it's just really an honor to be a part of it. So thank you.
So much is happening. It really is an exciting time in Fairport. And Jan, as Jen was saying, you know, the consolidation and the time change, these are things that we as a district have been working on for a number of years, have been talking about for a number of years before Jan and I were even on the board. These discussions and these plans had started to happen. So seeing them come to fruition, there are problems to solve with this. There are problems to solve with any, but I think, like I said, I think we have a good team in place that is actively working on it and listening to community members, listening to teachers, listening to students, and working to make the best decisions, I think, for the most number of students, which is kind of the core of the work that we do here. I think that one of the things that is getting a lot of headlines, and again, my mind goes to Albany, my mind goes to the current budget talks challenge that we're going to be facing in the next year in the district, is the new smartphone restrictions that the governor has championed and will likely be implementing with the budget. This is we do not know what this is going to be right now. That's still being negotiated in Albany right now. What we're hearing is that it's going to be a bell-to-bell ban on students using smartphones or their own connected devices, so like your Apple Watch and stuff like that. I think what's important for people to know, and for you guys to know, is that our team has known about this and has been working on it for the past year. This is not something that's catching them unprepared. They've been working on it. It's part of the code of conduct. It's part of the discussions, and when the state when we hear from the state, we'll be ready to go. And I think that what the high school has done is a reflection of the team that we have in place. And again, our role as a board members, as a board, is to put a good team in place and give them the resources that they need to support what the students need. And I think we've been able to do that.
So, excuse me, I like that question. I like the fact that I had a question I couldn't pre-think about, that I had to catch cold too, so that's better. I like that. So issues, challenges, and priorities. So I'd say the biggest issue or opportunity the library has in the next few years is our lease will be up during my term, and we've had a rental space since the 70s, since before I lived here, and it was renewed a few years ago and expanded, and then the library was renovated, but so we'll have a decision to make as what to do. And it's not just the physical space, but you have to look forward, what do libraries need in the future? Because what they needed in 1975 when that space was first acquired and versus they need now in 2025 is clearly not the same thing. Is it more, is it less, is it different? We don't know, but technology plays a lot in that. So that's a big issue, and it's not just location or our site. Second challenge I would say is we do have cost issues and things. The last few years, inflation has reared its head again, and we've had things increase faster than we had anticipated in cost. And that's true as far as supplies. Materials went up, as I'm sure it has for the school, as well as especially benefits. The other challenge is access, because as I mentioned in my comment, a lot of people think we don't need the libraries because we have the internet, which is, you know, we need libraries more because we have the internet, in my opinion, not less. But we also have to make sure we have access to people, and we have to find ways to bring the access to people's homes so that people do see that the library has a role in curating information and providing information and helping people wade through all the crap that's out there, because there's a lot out there. And I don't mean from a particular point of view, but from so much out there that's for other. And then the other priority I think is most important is community awareness and involvement. The library, just like the school, should not exist in a vacuum. It has to exist in the community. And so we have to make sure we get this broad base of understanding of what we do and who does it so that they can influence it and we can meet their needs.
Sorry you couldn't read from the Constitution, Peter. We
I
tried.
know.
I'm going to
I
take
almost
advantage
got
of the
there.
opportunity anyways. I have the microphone now. And,
He's going to read from it now.
well, you know, all joking aside, I think we could amend slightly and apply it to tonight, right? We the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, do establish libraries and public education. I think, my opinion is it's been a great boon to our society to have libraries and public education accessible, raising people out of poverty, helping the American dream become a reality, just providing us with wonderful opportunities because of the access we have to books and teachers who care and teach and pass on knowledge, and then advancements that come because you all go off and do amazing things at learning at college and bring the next generation up. We have great hope because of our students, so thank you for being here. Traditionally, this forum has a closing statement. I don't know if you feel like you need that, but we're happy then to open it up. It's also been typically just 1 minute, right? Closing statement, but we can expand a little bit that. I won't read the Constitution over you. If you wanna give any kind of closing statement, I don't know if you're prepared, but just anything, any final words you maybe didn't share during this.
I mean, I'll never turn down the ability to talk, Peter. You know that. I mean, just really briefly, you know, to talk up this amazing woman sitting next to me. Working with Jan for the last 3 years has been an honor. It's remarkable. She is a fierce advocate for her kids and for all kids and for education. I talk. She doesn't talk as much, but you know, when she talks, people listen. And she is an incredible advocate for our schools, and we are lucky to have her in Fairport. And I thank the people of Fairport. I thank the previous board for picking me to fill that spot a couple of years ago. I thank the people of Fairport for giving me a chance to serve a full term, and I look forward to the privilege of serving another 3 years. And thank you to everybody who supports our schools. And again, thank you guys for being here and taking time out of your schedules to be here. We really appreciate it.
Okay, so one thing, I wanted to use my time to explain one thing I think is very interesting and it's unique in Fairport. In all of Monroe County except Fairport, the library is part of the municipal government. And so for whatever reason, 120 years ago, before any of us existed, the library was chartered as a public school library, meaning it has the same configuration as the public schools and same tax base, but runs independently, which means that we are able to be independent from both the school board and from the town of Perrington and the village of Fairport as far as funding. We have our own independent taxation, things like that. And I think that is a kind of a miracle that it happened that way, that it gives the community direct access to the library that it wouldn't have in other ways, because in the other ways it'd be like part of the town or the village, the Department of Public Works or the assessor or something like that, important positions. I'm not denigrating them, but they wouldn't have direct access into either vote for people or to fund it. And I wanted to point that out because very few people know that. And I gave myself a timer and I'm up.
And I think it's less than 10 in the state of New York.
Yeah, it's very few.
The schools, right?
Yeah.
So like you say, it's pretty rare, and I think
Pretty rare.
Great opportunity for us. So Dan, finish this off.
Well, that was really nice. Thank you, Brian. I think our team is really remarkable and incredible. And I know it always seems as if, we all agree, and I think there's, there's so much conversation and dialogue behind the scenes sometimes that you don't always get to see that. So there's a lot of grappling and there's a lot of discussion. And I think what always drives every single conversation is we always come back to what is best for students. So any tough conversation, any tough decision, any time that our heart is just like, oh, are we doing the right thing? It's always, but is this going to serve students the very best? I am reminded, Joyce Kostick, another incredible long-standing board member in Fairport, she said to me when I first, got into this office, she goes, Jan, you will not do a fraction of what you think you're going to do, but you will contribute more to this district and community than you could ever possibly imagine. And as usual, Joyce was always right. I have had such an honor of contributing to planning, decision-making, and the stewardship of our district. I have learned more than I possibly could ever imagine knowing, whether it's financial matters, governance, policy. Those are just all such great skills. It's such a great lesson to never stop learning, never stop pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. But it just as the final reminder is, you know, our children, you sitting here, every child from Northside, Dudley, Minerva, Brooks Hill, JA, Martha, Joanna Perrin in the high school, you know, they are in our first and foremost thoughts as we plan. So I'm really humbled to earn the support of everyone in Fairport and to continue serving. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for taking that on. Thank you for the service you've already done, all of you running as incumbents. So I hope that means it's been a good experience on both sides, as I know you have and you've stated otherwise. To our students, thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you.
We hope you, truly, the students always give us hope.
Yeah.
Right? Hope for the future. You help us believe in what we do as we sit on these different boards, because we see the great work that comes of it. So please continue to be involved as you have been now throughout your life. You make such a great impact. And then to everyone else, just remind you then that Tuesday, May 20th, from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m., a wide range at Joanna Perrin is the school and library vote, budget vote, and vote for the candidates. Thank you all and good night.
And also really quick before we cut out, the fundraiser chicken barbecue dinner that night as well. Make sure you get your tickets so you don't have to, you can vote, get dinner. It's the best of all
Win-win.
worlds. So
Odyssey of the Mind, right? Thank you,
Yes.
who has made it to World Finals, 2 teams, right, to World Finals. So they're raising funds to get themselves there to University of Michigan. So thank you for that reminder. Very good. Good night, everyone.